हेलो प्रणाम नमस्कार पंचतत्व गर्ल एक सोच एक आवाज एक बार फिर से आपके साथ and you are listening to my potpourri platter. And today I'm going to pluck the petal of reading glimpse from a thriller book. Yes, thriller stories have always fascinated me. The twists and turns of the thriller keeps our adrenaline flowing and activates a part of our brain, isn't it? You feel so much of excitement, the surprise element, the anxiety, the suspense. All these high-end feelings are wonderful when you're reading a thriller novel. And lately, I got to read this gripping tale of murder, corruption, and power. All in all, it was a wonderful read for a reader like me who loves thriller. So, this book is titled You Beneath Your Skin, which is written by Damayanti Biswas. I had known Damayanti as a blogger, as a writer, since I had done We Are the Blogfest Positive Stories blog hop with her, and also because of her association with Project Y. You can read about her work on her website www.damayantiwrites.com. So today, I'm going to give you the glimpse from her thriller novel, You Beneath Your Skin, from chapters 19 and 21, which are sure going to make you read this book and know what lies beneath. So here is my glimpse. An hour later, Anjali sat in her car outside the South Extension market. Nikhil hunkered beside her, headphones on, stress ball in hand. He still wore Varun's clothes. For the third time that evening, Anjali tried to get her son to do as she asked. "I'm not coming out." Nikhil stared at the foggy street. This wasn't part of the deal. He was right. She hadn't foreseen having to park the car so far from the cake shop. South Extension during the evening rush hour was chaos. "I can't leave you here. I'll be gone a few minutes." Why? Because the last time she got separated from him at the mall, she had almost lost him. And today, when she couldn't find him at home, she had been terrified. She couldn't go through that again, nor could she say that out loud. "I am not coming out." Nikhil cowered back in his seat and clung to his seatbelt. She didn't blame him. She couldn't distinguish one shop from the other in this dense smog, and the dim street lights cast warped shadows. She tried to call the shop and request them to come out with the cake, but didn't get through. Her phone battery wouldn't last much longer. "It's Drishti Auntie's birthday. How can we celebrate it without cake?" "Black Forest." No, not Black Forest, but some sort of vegan vanilla Drishti liked. Anjali couldn't lie to him because she would pay hell at the restaurant later. What if I? No. "Nikhil, come on now." Why did her son have to be so stubborn on top of everything else? If this was Sakhi, she would have stepped out without a word. Had it been Varun, Anjali could have reasoned with him. But with Nikhil, nothing worked. He flicked his finger, the first sign he might launch into a full-scale tantrum. Anjali needed to preempt it. Nikhil, here, hold on to your blanket. Anjali laid the tattered blue cloth on his shoulders. I don't want to hold anything, all right? Nikhil swept away the blanket and in doing so, the back of his hand came towards Anjali. Anjali didn't duck in time and caught his entire backhand on her face. Her head spun from the impact. Nikhil! Her voice came out broken, husky. She felt on the brink of tears. Nikhil rocked back and forth, mumbling, No, 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 no. Anjali sat with him, trying to calm her own breathing, wondering if her right temple would bruise or swell. It felt sore. Okay, if you sit and just listen to music, I'll let you stay in the car. But this is an exception, okay? Nikhil stopped mumbling. Anjali checked her watch. If they didn't leave soon, Trishti's cake would never reach the dinner on time. She sent off a text to Maya telling her they might be a little late and to start without them. You'll sit here and wait for me, okay? Catching sight of her dry, patchy face in the rear view mirror, she sighed. She remembered what Sakhi had said to her the other day. It is not real. Sakhi touched her made-up face. You're pretty in the morning with your real face. Anjali smiled at the memory of the little girl's precautious, all-knowing ways. Anjali shut the car door, debated locking her son in, then decided against it. He might panic if he heard the locks click. She would be gone only a few minutes. Without looking back, Anjali strode into the fog. Fog closed in around her, diffusing the street lights. Her eyes itched. She stumbled towards the general direction she had left the car, half blind, paper box in hand. She would sort out the problem with her contact lenses first thing tomorrow. From behind her, she heard someone called her name. When she turned, she felt a liquid sloshed onto her face. Water? No, too warm. Tea? No, it grew hotter. Oh Lord, so hot it burned. Dropping the box, she clawed at her face to stop the hundreds of needles digging into it. She went scrambling, gasping, gagging, till someone tipped a bottle of cold water on her, then brought her a pail to hold and told her in half-broken, freaked-out English to dunk her face. Later, when Maya called back the man from the cake shop about Anjali, he blubbered words like acid, water, police. Maya could hear Anjali's groans in the background. Poor Anjali had stopped by South Extension as a favor. She shouldn't have been there at all. Jatin Bhai barely gave her time to jump into his car before swerving out of the hotel's car park. Tires squealing, he sped through no less than 3 traffic lights, sirens blaring, making one call after another on his hands-free to Kusum, to other policemen. He asked her to call her doctor friend for advice, but beyond that didn't seem to register her presence right beside him. Maya prayed for Anjali, prayed that it was a small burn, only her hand maybe. Maya had once seen an acid attack survivor at Safdarjung talking to Anjali, stared at the blind white eye, the black and brown patchy skin, the burnt off nose and eyebrows. Not her Anji. Anji was fine. Who would want to hurt her? Did someone want Maya hurt and find Anjali instead? One of those husbands or wives from marriages Maya helped break up due to her work at Vigil? We will look into all angles, Bhai said when she asked him. Let's reach her first. You must stay alert, all right? Maya nodded. Her head buzzed with the flash of car headlights whizzing by in the opposite direction, the screeches and honks of traffic, and the way Bhai's jeep growled each time he revved the accelerator. She needed to discuss so much with Anjali. Pavan swore the girl in Manoj's phone was Sakhi, so Sakhi was in real danger. She would talk to Anjali as soon as they took care of her injuries. Even minor burns hurt like hell. Better wait till tomorrow. The drive to South Extension at times through dark, twisted shortcuts and alleyways made Maya queasy. When they came to a halt, she unlocked her seatbelt and turned to Bhai. She expected him to pat her, tell her Anjali was going to be okay. Instead, he looked at her once, then banged his door shut before she could react. For the very first time in her life, she saw fear in his eyes. Inside the shop, Anjali sat on a low bench, her head dipped in a small pail a bald man held for her. Nikhil slouched in a corner, his headphones snug on his ears, eyes closed. 2 or 3 other people milled about. A tall man shouted into a phone. Bhai made straight for Anjali. Are you okay? From within the pail they heard Anjali moan. Bhai got the salesman to bring more water bottles, which he emptied in a trickle over her hands and forearms. The rest of the party trooped in a little later. Pavan, Bunty and Varun ran about trying to get more water. Someone got a packet of salt and a new pail. Maya focused on Anjali, whispering to her she would be okay. Help was on its way. The ambulance would reach any minute. The saltwater spray would cool her. Bhai sat on the other side, holding Anjali. She heard everyone, words rising and falling around her, the phone calls. Maya gritted her teeth. The minute they heard the ambulance siren, Bhai helped Anjali stand up. Maya flinched at the sight of Anjali's pale, ghost-like white face, straight out of low-budget Bollywood horror flick, not red as Maya had expected. The eyes had swollen shut, the lids rubbery grey-blue like dead jellyfish. Maya once saw on beach trip to Puri. She kept a hold on Anjali's upper arms and climbed into the ambulance with the nurse. Nikhil? Where was Nikhil? We are right behind you. This must be a nightmare. She couldn't be awake to see Anjali hurt this bad. Oh God. So much happened in this hour of the night on this foggy Delhi winter. An Indian American, Anjali Morgan, who struggles to cope, and now she finds herself at the center of a gruesome crime spree investigated by Jatin. So are you now curious to know who splashed that liquid on Anjali? Who's Jatin? What happened to Nikhil? Who's Maya? Who's Sujni? And who's that little girl Maya was thinking about? Yes. If you're curious to know about all this, the book which you have to read is You Beneath Your Skin. It's suspenseful and sensitive. and this certainly will keep you awake at night till the time you find out what lies beneath your skin. Wonderful book, and thank you very much for listening to me. I hope I was able to add on some thrill from this glimpse of the book. Do read this book and enjoy the writer's effort and the thrill behind it. So that's all for today, listeners. Panchatattva Girl will be back with more kisse, kahani and stories. Till then, keep reading, keep smiling, and keep listening. Thank you. Bye-bye. Namaskar.